Hello, Cubs fans, and welcome to a brand new edition of, say it with me, Cubs on Tap. I am Ron Luce. I am joined by the one, the only, the Mr. Cheeseman himself, Mr. Joey Ricotta, my friend. We're here talking about a Cubs Series W, which is cool and tough because Juice and I had to talk about the loss on Monday. But before we get into all of that, Hawaiian shirt and all, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm doing good. We got the palm trees on the shirt since the Cubs are on vacation in Miami and they're frying fish. I figured this was like the perfect little vacation outfit since I had to switch over from the Bears gear. We did a Bears on Tap show a little bit ago, me and B-Don.
Good plug.
Yeah, check that out. We're frying fish, Ron. 2 straight over Miami. I love it. I only was able to catch the first through 5th inning and then the very tail end of it because of the Bears show. But tracking it, looks like some good things happened. Sounds like you told me pre-show, and we'll talk about it on here as well. But anytime the Cubs get a W, I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I am doing much better. You and I talked about it. I had a hell of a day, folks. Let's just say that. Family emergency shit. We're good. We're doing a little. It's not hashtag crack 'em. It's hashtag pop 'em tonight because we popped the bottle open. But you get the idea. But we're here. We're celebrating. We're celebrating a lot of things. And Jeremiah comes sliding into the comments at the right time with the right information because not only are we celebrating a Cubs series win, we're also celebrating a Cubs victory tonight. And I have to ask people, do you remember the 21st night of September? And maybe you will tonight because the Cubs actually had one of those rare games, as Jeremiah says here. Yes, one of the rare games where we actually pull off a comeback and hold it. Yes, that's exactly what happened.
Weird.
But on top of it, the South Bend Cubs are Midwest League champions. Congratulations to the Little Cubs over in South Bend. Big for guys like PCA and Luis Verdugo and the whole plethora of guys that are at high A ball right now. Certainly a huge accomplishment for them reigning there. A ton of talent, obviously. A lot of guys that we're probably going to see in the next year and a half to 2 years playing down there right now. As Jack says here, we got Keegan back tonight. There obviously wasn't an article yet because, as we mentioned, it's been a shit show of a day for everybody here at Cubs on Tap. But nonetheless, we're pretty excited about it. Keegan's back. He looks good out of the bullpen, finished off tonight's game. And we're going to get into all of that. Joey, because we're talking about 2 wins. Obviously, yesterday, a 2-1 victory for the Cubbies. Adbert Alzolay gets the W, which was cool and tough. He went 2 perfect innings with 2 strikeouts, and Brandon Hughes picked up his 6th save of the season after a quality start from Adrian Sampson. Just 1 earned run in 6 innings, only 1 walk, 3 Ks, 8 hits from him. In that duel against Pablo Lopez yesterday. It ultimately came down to a Bodie homer in the 7th and a sac fly in the 8th that got the job done in that one. And then today, kind of a weird game. Cubs go down 3-0. Stroh still had a quality start, 6 innings, 3 earned, 1 walk. He struck out 7. That's cool and fucking tough. And then everybody else did their thing. Patrick Wisdom solo bomb tonight, as Tyler would always say, Joey. Patrick Wisdom listens to Cubs on Tap. Yes, he does. Patrick Wisdong, as he hits his 23rd Wisdong of the season tonight. That got everything going, and then a little bit of small ball, some sack bunts and sack flies and errors at the plate from whatever. I called him what's the fuck's his face, but it's Fortes, the catcher. For the Marlins, but when Joey and I were talking, it was what's the fuck's his face, and hey, he fucked up. Morel scores the tying run. Happ drives in the winning run with the sac fly. Both Keegan Thompson shuts it down. 3 scoreless innings from Keegan in his return, and Joey, it just for very very early starters. It's late in the year. A lot of us have football in the brain. It just feels good to see a Cubs series win. I don't give a fuck who it's against at this point. Like, let's be honest. The Marlins are a team they should beat. Tell me, my man, how are you feeling after, again, like you said, the little South Florida vacation for the Cubbies, getting 2 out of 3 here in this 3-game set?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I don't know, how often it is that you can say, yeah, we should beat this team as far as the Cubs go this season, but yeah, they're
That's
one of those teams, right? Like they're one of those teams where you walk into it with a little bit, maybe a little extra swagger, even though it's on the road. I think Miami is disguisingly good because of their rotation. Like that's what makes them like difficult to beat on a nightly basis. So it's like you look at them and you don't think that they're that good of a team, but when you face guys like Pablo Lopez, the last outing, and then face Jesus Luzardo tonight, those guys can pitch. Like those guys are damn good pitchers. Jesus Luzardo is one of my favorites. I think he's going to be really something next year as well. He build on this year, and I really think that with health he'll be really special. And Pablo Lopez, there's been some talk out there. Maybe he's available. Like maybe you can go out and get a Pablo Lopez, work something out. That's possible, right? This offseason, if you're the Cubs and you're looking at it as like the Marlins need help. Yeah. Jack R here in the comments. Pablo Lopez.
Jack read your brain. You
potential
literally said
Cubs
that
trade target. I didn't even know. I was not looking at the comments right now. I got the full screen up, Ron. So that's pretty cool. I like that, Jack.
You and Jack are in the same wavelength right now. It's just good.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think it's possible because like they have so many different pitchers, like Sandy Alcantara, who's the potential Cy Young, right? So I mean, like they have Edward Cabrera. We saw him in the first game. Like they have guys that they can ship out. You had a guy that got hurt earlier who I'm very high on. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but a guy that made his debut this season for them. And I'm going to find that name in a second, but a guy who I'm also very high on with the Marlins. So, you get him back. I think he had the season ending injury, but so they can maybe potentially get rid of some of these starters and try to acquire some more position player talent. So that is something that you could work on, but potentially work out. But as far as like this series, like you said, it's cool to get a series W. I think the coolest thing to come out of this series, there's two players that really started to make, get some playing time here. Of course, Jared Young too as well, but Esteban Quiroz and Keegan Thompson's back. So I think those are the real cool bright spots here from this series. Even though the W's are cool, obviously, I need that win total. We need to go. I was reminded by B-Don tonight that after this win, they need to go 10-3 for them to hit that over on the win total of 73.5. So it's possible. We're not going to say it's going to happen, but it's possible.
It's possible. Hey, we're gonna root for it to happen because then you win some cash. But yeah, man, I mean, again, just you'll love to see what I think you've seen out of the last two games. Really, the two wins of this series. To your point, Joey, of like, yeah, the wins are cool. Like, right, we enjoy the wins nonetheless. But the fact that it's the little nuggets you get throughout the wins that get people excited. These are the little things that people can keep in mind. I mean, yesterday, Esteban Quiroz, 30-year-old, played a bunch of years in the Mexican League, was signed by the Rays, played a bunch of years in AAA, finally gets his major league debut, gets 2 hits in his debut, first career hit. You love to see it. Good for him. Congratulations to him as well. And it was kind of the David Bodie show. He drove in both runs. It was enough to get the Cubs dub. Sampson pitched great. Alzolay looked fantastic. That's obviously a huge W. And Hughes continues to look like everyday Hughes. There's a reason we call this guy everyday fucking Hughes. And then in tonight's game, yeah, Stroh gets beat up for 3 runs, but you're still in the ball game. He has a great outing overall. That ERA sits below 4, even with some atrocious starts that he had this year that just inflated the fuck out of the number. And he's been hurt and he's been beat up and whatever, but Stroh looked good tonight. And Keegan comes in, 1 walk, 1 hit. Otherwise, he's untouchable. 6 strikeouts in 3 innings of work. No big deal. Welcome back, kid. We love to see you. And just like Jack says here, he says Keegan, I think, can be a solid starter, but out of the pen, he is elite. And I absolutely agree. And Scott agrees as well. He says, I love the Keegan Thompson vibes out of the pen. His demeanor will make him elite. And Juice and I talked about this a little bit on Monday. We said it's not a bad thing to have 2, 3, maybe 4 elite arms that can go multiple innings out of the bullpen. It's not a bad problem to have because you have Keegan Thompson who's shown he can do it. You had Alzolay on Tuesday show he can do it. Like, if that's the worst thing that happens, it's like, yeah, these guys can't start. Yeah, they could be spot starters if you need them, and they're elite spot starters if you need them. But son of a bitch, you're telling me I got a couple guys that I can go 2 and 3 innings with out of the bullpen on a nightly basis that give you elite shit? That is massive for the Cubs. And that's exactly what Juice and I talked about on Monday, and Monday it was just kind of this like forward-thinking thought. And then it comes to fruition in 2 consecutive days, which you love to see. Again, the Cubs listen to Cubs on Tap. We've already noted this. We have perfect examples of it happening. We can confirm it's real, folks. But you gotta love to fucking see it, man. And it makes me so happy to see that as well, Joey, because this just continues to reaffirm the fact the Cubs are developing arms and a plethora of them. And in what is an arms race in the major leagues, it's good to be at the front of the arms race because even if you have too much talent, gosh darn it, you move some of those guys and you fill in holes that you need to fill in, and good things happen. When, again, we saw it early in the last regime, right? They drafted and traded for the position players, and they paid for pitching, and that was okay. And it worked, and it delivered a title, and we're all excited about that. But when you just have whatever the fuck you want to call this machine that the Cubs have started, just cranking out fucking arms like it's a freaking cotton candy machine with a big wheel every single night, like, this is going to almost be better because then you can pay for the bats and trade for the bats. I got to stop doing that with the flab on the arm. You could keep you could trade for the bats and pay for the bats. You're always going to have pitching if you can do this shit. And it's just going to show. You could literally walk into next season with Justin Steele, Carlos Rodon, because we've heard the rumors, Marcus Stroman, a healthy Kyle Hendricks. Maybe Drew Smyly comes back. If that's your rotation going into next season, that's really fucking good. Oh, and then, gosh darn it, you got Alec Mills who can come out of the bullpen and go multiple innings. You've got Alzolay. You've got Keegan. You've got, the list goes on. And you got all these other kids. They had to send Jeremiah Estrada down. He touches 98 on the fastball regularly because Keegan's healthy. That shows you how fucking deep this pen is. And cool little graphics. Jay Luda, I believe is his name. I
saw that. I'm ready to hear this. Yeah.
Big graphs guy. I'm an accountant, so I'm a big graphs nerd. It was quadrants of a graph, X, Y axes, of course, and it was based on like value and price. ERA was one axis, total price was another. The Cubs are like one of the best and cheapest bullpens in the major leagues. There's like, I kid you not, maybe 3 or 4 that are better than them. They're like the cheapest for how good they are by far. That's huge.
So is that counting? Was that counting like the full season, like what they spent for David Robertson, Michael Givens, what they were paying Efros and Chris Martin, or is that just like now? Like
it might be now, and that's a good question. But nonetheless, even if that's the case, if you're basing it on the guys in the pen now, their ERA is under 3.50 as a bullpen, and they're less than $5 million. And they're like the only ones in the league that look like that. Even the teams that have better ERAs that are still considered cheap and good are like $10 million for their bullpen. Like there's still a little bit more money in their bullpens for what they're producing.
And I don't see that changing, Ron. I don't see them spending a ton on the bullpen the way that these guys are like you said, churning these arms out, right? It's an arms race. The multiple inning guys are so critical and crucial, like to be able to save a pen.
Especially in today's MLB.
Oh, it's incredible. If you have a guy that can give you 2-3 innings on a nightly basis, not a nightly basis, but like an alternate every 2-3, you know what I mean? Like, because it saves the bullpen for when you have those nights when you need a 2/3 inning appearance, we'll come in and face this guy. Like, you're going to have those nights where you're going to have to churn them and burn them. You go to extra innings and stuff like that. Like these extra inning games, especially now that they're giving you the runner on second, which actually is supposed to speed up extra inning games, and it has for the most part, I think. But You just don't know. Like you're pretty much like, it feels like an automatic run there. So like, what problem did you solve? Right? You got a guy on second base, you move him over, you get a sac fly. Like you got a guy on second base, you move him over, you get a sac fly. Like something easy. It kind of turns into that sometimes. So I feel like you can just keep the game going and going and going for a while too, even in extra inning play, even though they were trying to speed that up. So like having these guys fresh, and then you can use them for the times that you really need them, or the very close games where you need your best just for an inning. I think that's huge, man. And yeah, I don't see it changing to the point where they're going to be spending a ton of money on the open market for relievers, because what they need more than anything, especially the way that they're developing, they need bats. Yes, they need the rotation, but I think even like, I know we want one big arm this offseason, right? We want one big arm to headline this rotation. But if they didn't do that, and I'm not saying that I want them not to do that and go for like two big bats and maybe another bat and make a trade that way. I'm not saying I want this to happen. I think one big bat, one big arm makes a ton of sense this offseason. But if you did, and Scott says here, sign a number one starter and a number one power hitter, or just Ohtani. You can't really sign Ohtani, but I get your point there. Or just wait another year and try to, but I get the point. Yeah, you could trade for him. Yeah, I mean, I'd love that if that were the case, and we'll see like what you're giving up for him. But yeah, I mean, who doesn't want Ohtani, right? But I'm just saying, if they didn't go that route with the depth that they have right now with the rotation, depending on the guys that they bring back, of course, those 1 year, one plus a mutual option type of guys like Drew Smiley and all that. Maybe you get that breakout next season for Wesneski, right? Maybe he is like, he doesn't need too much grooming. Like it's very possible. Like, I'm not saying that that's going to be the case, because I expect him to have some struggles here at this level. Like, that's going to happen, of course. And, I want to see that as well. I think Juice and you guys were talking about that on a previous show, where you want to see those struggles. Yeah. And makes all the sense in the world to me, because then he can kind of counteract that and figure out what he needs to do better. But I do believe that there might be something real sick about the guys that are coming up, rotation piece wise. And then you add in that incredible bullpen, because not all these guys are going to stick as rotation guys. You might be able to win quite a few ball games next year without getting a number one type of starter. And I'm not saying I don't want that to happen. Don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm just saying they could potentially attack this a different route and go with another kind of medium contract type of pitcher, if that makes sense.
Sure. Absolutely makes sense. And Jack kind of notes that here. He says, agree, Joe. He says next year, if Jed does starters, you could realistically roll with a Steele as your one, Stroh as your two. If you go make a trade for a guy like Lopez, who you just noted a little bit earlier, maybe he's your three. Yeah. And then like Wesneski, Hendricks are like your 4 or 5. And then again, you still have the bullpen / spot starter depth with guys like, Keegan Thompson and Adbert Alzolay. And that's huge, right? And who's to say that guys like Caleb Killian don't maybe come up next year and make some kind of impact? I'm not saying he's going to light the world on fire, but again, some kind of impact is better than nothing. Maybe we see a hair touch of Ben Brown next year. Who knows? Maybe Jordan Wicks comes out and just fucking shoves it down Double-A's throat. And they're like, let's give the kid a look. And he comes up and he has no issue. Obviously,
that's what I'm saying. We don't know how much time some of these other guys actually have. So if they don't have much time, they might look at it and be like, hey, I think he's pretty close, right?
I could honestly see the Cubs doing one of two things. I could see them going after a big name like Rodon, but doing more of like a Stroman level type contract. And do you understand? I was joking with you where Juice and I went the other night on Monday's show. Now you can see where we were going with that when we were discussing things. Maybe you get Rodon on like a 3-year contract with an option for like a 4th and a 5th year or some shit like that. That's okay. Because then you don't have to rush guys like Wicks and guys like Brown and guys like, obviously the kids that they drafted this year, Horton and his name is escaping me right now. The lefty Ferris, thank you. But like these guys, they don't have to rush anybody. They don't have to rush anybody throughout the system then in terms of pitching because you are at least somewhat set. I think Wesneski is the most, MLB ready of the group in terms of a starter. But even then, if he's your 5 starter next year, I'm really fucking excited about the Cubs. If he's your 5 starter next year, and we're gonna get another taste of him tomorrow because he starts the opener in Pittsburgh tomorrow, which we'll touch on here in a few minutes. But I mean, dude, I'm telling you right now, if this series showed nothing, the Cubs are trotting out some of the most. I don't want to call him bonehead because at this point in the season, it's like throw shit at a wall in whatever order it fucking sticks in is the order you do it. That's like if I'm David Ross, this is how I envision David Ross picking out the lineups. And Brian, if you're looking for something to clip, this is going to be a fun one. Like David Ross probably goes in his office, and he kind of looks at the lineup card that he probably has on his wall, right? Because he's probably got a big one. If I was a manager, I would have a big one on my wall. You could write them out with the big expo marker and have a little fun with it. And I'd be looking at it and I'd be like, like we're so banged up. No Nico Horner. No Wilson Contreras. No this guy. No that guy. Literally you could go down the list, right? And I would just take this group of like darts effectively. And I would just be like, fuck it. I'm going to chuck them at the wall in whatever order they stick in from top to bottom. That's the lineup tonight. Because honest to God, that kind of feels how he's been fucking putting the lineups together. I mean, let me just talk you through the lineups for the last 2 days. Here's a perfect example of this. I'm going to tell you position and where these guys are hitting. Ready? Here we go. Tuesday, McKinstry, leadoff, shortstop. Quiros, second base. Bodie, third base, hitting in the 3-hole. Ian Happ, left field. Rivas, first base. Rivas hitting in the 5-hole. Higgins catching. Young, DH. Velasquez, Nelly V. Swim. He was playing right. Hermosillo in center. They ended up bringing Morel in later in the game, but he didn't get an official at bat. Then tonight, you run it back. Quiros, leadoff spot. Bodie, 2-hole. Happ in left field in the 3-hole. Reyes gets the DH tonight. Yay. Gomes caught and played, in the 5th. Fucking Patrick Wisdom played right field for fuck's sake today. Actually made 2 beautiful plays defensively and then hit a solo bomb. Higgins played first tonight and hit 7. McKinstry, shortstop, hit 8. And Morel was in center, hit 9. And then they did the flip-flop as they did yesterday. Hermosillo came in late as a defensive replacement. But again, at this point in the season, it doesn't fucking matter, right? So just throw shit at the wall and see what happens. That's what they did. And they still won games. And I think that's a testament to a few things. That the culture for the Cubs is still there. They're getting guys to play hard, even though it's effectively meaningless baseball at this point in the year. Guys like Ian Happ and some of the other guys can still help drive the lineup, just no matter who the fuck is in the lineup, as we've seen over the last 2 days. Again, a normal Cubs fan who doesn't pay attention to all the, a little beat on him out of Pia here for the Bears on Tap listeners, for the Jimmies and Joes of the Cubs throughout the season, like you'd be like, who the fuck are half of these guys, right? They're still getting the job done. And a lot of that is because of the pieces they already have in place. It's the starting pitching being really fucking good. Sampson and Stroman, 2 quality starts, 2 wins for the team. The bullpen looked sensational over those 2 games. Alzolay and Hughes yesterday, Keegan today. These are all pieces that are in place for next season. These are all things they are carrying over for next season. This is where the Cubs are going. They're going to only add. They're not going to subtract. The only thing they're subtracting are guys that don't have a place in this future. If these guys are here for the long run, Nico Horner, in my opinion, I think Ian Happ has earned that right on this current team. They are in a place to make shit happen. And that's why these last 2 days have been fun. Because literally David Ross said, fuck it. We're going to throw shit at the wall. We're playing the Marlins. Who cares? It's late September. We're out of this fucking thing. The next thing we have to look excited for is the MLB spring training and then the fucking draft lottery that's new in the MLB this year. And guess what? They went out and got 2 W's. And that's, you know what I call that, Joey? You know what I fucking call that? It's cool and fucking tough is what it is. And it's just a good sign for things to come. I've talked enough. My friend, I want to turn it back over to you. Express thoughts, feelings, opinions, whatever you got for me on this series. What's on your mind, my man? Because again, like you said too, it's some of those little nuggets. The wins are fun. but it's the little nuggets that get you excited about next season.
Yeah, I love that you're saying that about, the dartboard and, just throwing names out there, and like he could literally just put names in a piece of paper and a hat and just pull them out, and
Joey, he could tell us that you and I are hitting 1 and 2 in the lineup, but apparently it wouldn't make a fucking difference.
I don't think it'll matter. I mean, they'll still find a way to win the game, it seems like right now.
You get on, I'll drive you in.
Which is cool because, I mean, great. That's fine with me. I don't know if I could steal bases like John Birdie on the other side, but
we need to talk about that really quick. That's just like a fun ending fact, I think, that we need to talk about. But please continue.
Yeah, we'll talk about that as well. But the little nuggets here, right? Like Keegan, and shout out to Beatdown again for a second here, because he did bet Cubs money line tonight and won himself some money. So I know he was thrilled. When we got off the Bears show, he was thrilled with Keegan's 3-inning, 1-hit, 6 strikeout performance, because I didn't even realize he struck out that many guys in that little short of a span of a time. I mean, Stroman had 7 and he had 6 in half the time. So
dirty.
Yeah, he was dirty. Obviously, Jesus Luzardo looked pretty good too on the other side with 11 strikeouts. So some pretty good pitching tonight. Really.
I was gonna say, to your point, because you brought up Luzardo earlier, just so everybody realizes, when you were like, I think he's going to be really good. If 6 2/3 of 3 hit, 1 run, 1 walk, 11 strikeout ball is good, I think he's going to be really fucking good.
Exactly. Yeah, he's got the stuff, man. He needs to stay healthy and continue building on some of the stuff that he worked on since his time from Oakland too, which Miami's just proving to be a kind of a powerhouse, churning out these pitchers, right? So I don't think they're going to miss a Pablo Lopez as much, like we've already talked about, as some other teams. But yeah, the little nuggets, man. Like we talked about Keegan coming in out of the bullpen. He is elite out of the bullpen. I mean, from what he's shown just in his time, you compare the numbers from starter to bullpen, the numbers it's pretty, eye popping, the difference there. And he has been good this season at different moments from the rotation too. So it's like you said, it's not that he can't do that. And we talked about that, right? We talked about how, you can do spot starts and all that. And I mean, maybe he is a rotation guy, right? I'm not going to limit him. I don't think that is necessary at this point. Like where the Cubs are at, it's not necessary to be like, hey, he's only a bullpen guy. He can't start in the rotation. Injuries happen. And then if Keegan gets back in there and he starts dominating again in the rotation, you're going to tell me you don't want him starting now? I want him back in the bullpen? I mean, he's probably sticking in the rotation, right? So we've seen this story before. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the thing with the Cubs that makes it really fun and interesting. And you're seeing all these different names in here. We talked about, Jared Young and Hermosillo. And I didn't think Hermosillo was going to play again with the Cubs at all. Agreed. Until like recently. And I'm like, whoa.
Until like a week ago.
Yeah, Hermosillo's back. Like, what's happening here? Like, I just thought he was just going to be one of the DFA cuts, at some point. But yeah, whatever. I mean, it's kind of fun. You look at these different lineups, and then we're going to end up looking at this, next year or 2025. Like, when this team gets good again, we're going to end up looking at this lineup in September 21st. Do you remember, Ron? And I'm going to say, do you remember? Look, we're just going to start singing that, the lineup on September 21st. And then you're going to be like, oh, yeah. Actually, we will not remember probably at all. But it'll be kind of cool to kind of go back and look at some of these names.
I mean, without looking at tonight's lineup, because I've already forgotten what tonight's was. I think it was Kiros, Bodie, Hap. And I already forgot who hit the fucking 4-hole. Franmil. Jan, Wisdom, Higgins, McKinstry, Morel. Let me look. Hold on. Kiros, Bodie, Hap, Reyes, Gomes, Wisdom, Higgins, McKinstry, Morel. Damn, wow, that was pretty good actually.
You got it, didn't you? Did you get it?
I do remember, Joey, the 21st night of September, because not only did the Cubs win a series, and not only did the Cubs take 2 out of 3 and shit looked good, but as a friend of the program and an informant here, Kyle Mikowski, he's a good dude, longtime listener, doesn't participate in the comments too much. But South Bend Cubs champs, where's the hand towel? I agree, we all need hand towels. Here it comes on tap, and for all of our listeners, because again, Big deal. Hey, this South Bend Cubs team was fucking fun to watch this year. There's a ton of talent there. This goes beyond the Cubs winning a ball game tonight and things being in place going into the future, Joey, because there's a lot of good shit in place here for the Cubbies. And on that note, Joey, I'm going to ride this high into the rest of my night that the Cubs won and the South Bend Cubs won, and shit's looking up for the Cubs in the future. My friend, I want to turn it over to you, though. Any final thoughts before we go ahead and look ahead to the next series for the Cubbies?
Yeah, not really. I mean, it's just, it's cool. Keep frying fish, but let's do it with the Bucks. We'll take the vacation tour to Pittsburgh, and it is in Pittsburgh, right, Ron?
Tis.
So we'll take the vacation there, and hopefully. I'm trying to think of that sandwich shop that we went to in Pittsburgh. It'll come to me later, but just get yourself some good meals over there and get some W's. Bring that win total over 73.5, please. Those are pretty much my only final. Well, I guess I'm already looking ahead. Final thoughts on tonight. Cool, it happened. Keegan Thompson looked great out of the bullpen.
Cool, it happened.
Stroman looked good. I don't know. I mean, it's like Patrick Wisdong hit a bomb. I mean, Esteban Quiroz. What did he have? A sack bunt or bunt for a base hit
tonight too. He also had a hit for tonight too. Yeah. So
yesterday bunted for a base hit. So I mean, it's kind of cool to see. Like that trade. I know we didn't really talk about him too much, but like that trade with it's Harold Ramirez, I believe. Before the season, to Tampa. Like Quiroz had a good season last year at AAA. Like I thought,
he hit like 3 something if I remember correctly.
Yeah, especially like second half. A lot of that was like surged. Like he kind of came on strong, I believe, in the second half of AAA last year. So like he was somebody I was kind of excited that maybe he can come up and be a solid depth piece. And then he got hurt. And then everybody's like, oh, it's a bust. Terrible fucking trade. Harold Ramirez, how could you trade him? Well, the guy came in out of shape. He had trouble getting over here to spring training. So it's like, they just made a move. And it was like, I don't think you're really losing sleep over the trade that you made. I just like, it was just something crazy at the time where I'm like seeing these people get totally upset about one, minor seemingly trade. But, and he's had a good season over there with Tampa, so I'm not trying to like bash him by any means. For the most part, he's had a good season. But anyways, no, it's cool to see him healthy. It's cool to see him get the call up too and kind of perform. Like nothing crazy, but like he's made some good defensive plays too. And last night's game, and you were talking about we were talking about it beforehand, I think, hopping on here with PJ Higgins tossing out the runner at second. That tag, man, like. People don't really notice that type of stuff, but he spiked that into the ground. It was a good throw. It's a strong throw, hits the dirt. But like him snagging that tag and just popping it on it, like that's a pro infielder play. So kind of cool to see. I don't know. I started talking for way too long there, Ron. Let's wrap this thing up. What are your final thoughts?
No, I agree. I think the Esteban Quiroz thing is kind of cool, and it's neat to see him get his first career hit on Tuesday. Continue to play well. A guy that down the stretch here, hey, the Cubs will give a look to. In worst case scenario, he's organizational depth. Best case scenario for him, he gets a look somewhere. At maybe being an everyday big leaguer. You never know. I mean, the guy is 30 years old. Who knows what happens? But Joey, we were talking earlier in the show, and you actually brought it up, right, with Higgins getting birdie yesterday on the stolen base attempt. John Birdie leads the major leagues in stolen bags. He's only been caught stealing 5 times. Yesterday was the 5th time that he's been caught stealing. He has 36 steals. And you and I played a little game of trivia before we jumped on. And so I kind of just want to articulate that to people and what we discovered. And there are 4 players tied for second behind John Birdie in the major leagues in steals. They're all tied at 31. Joey went through the guessing game. It's Cedric Mullins and Jorge Mateo of the Baltimore Orioles, Tommy Edman of the shitbag Cardinals, and Randy Arozarena of the Tampa Bay Rays. They are the 4 that are tied. All 4 of them have played at least 136 games this year. Mateo is that guy with 136. Everybody else has played over 140 in this season. Ronald Acuna is 6th in the league with 28 stolen bags in only 110 games. Bobby Witt Jr. just behind him at 27 in 138 games. John Birdie has 36 stolen bags in 90 games. If this guy played 130 games this year for the shitbag Marlins, he would have like 70 fucking stolen bases. It's unbelievable. Like the guy has just been everybody knows the classic, the Dora swiper, no swiping. Like John Birdie is swiper. Like that's what he does. He steals fucking bases apparently because he's 90 games. He has 36 stolen bags. That shit's nuts. Nuts.
Yeah. It's when you said that to me, I didn't realize how few games he'd played. I did not realize that until I'm like, holy shit, man, really? Like the efficiency on this guy, let alone to be able to get on base and inopportune moments, like nobody's on second base when he gets on, or you know what I mean? Like to have the ability to be able to steal that many bags and to do it, that's pretty impressive, especially for a guy with like a name that sounds like he should be more of a golfer and not a baseball player, especially because like, you know, you would think golfers, like most of the time, what are they doing? They're just walking the course, like all leisurely. They're riding in the golf carts. They're not, you know what I mean? They're not running. You wouldn't think that guy's fast. I wouldn't think anybody on the golf course is a fast runner. So like John Birdie, apparently he's not just a good golfer and like a stroke under par. He can actually wheel it a little bit. So it's pretty cool.
Absolutely, man. Hey, like you said, dubs are dubs are dubs. A lot of cool tidbits from this Marlins series. They cooked up some fish. We love to see it. Jeremiah adds here in the comments. Never realized how short of a porch the Marlins have in right field. It's because they want to be.
I think they changed that, right?
Well, they changed. I think they changed left field. I don't know if they changed right field. Maybe they did. I don't have no idea. I pay attention to the Marlins just as much as people that live in Miami pay attention to the Marlins, which is
because they're all from other places of the country. They don't care. They're not Miami, you know, fans of whatever.
And here's the problem. Let's just call a spade a spade. That a onomatopoeia now. Let's just call a spade, Joey, because if I lived in Miami and baseball's played in the summertime, I am not going to the baseball field
to
watch a baseball game. No, I'm going to the fucking beach, bro. I live in Miami. Like, come on now. What else would you be doing? That's just the nature of the beast. At least in the winter time when it's still 70 fucking degrees down there. Like, at least then for football and some of these other sports, like you have a chance at thriving, right? Like even in the heat. Even the heat, you know what I mean, is like, you know, they don't drop.
A great idea. I just got a great idea. What if they withheld all of their home games until the fall, until the wintertime, and they played all their home games in the fall and in the wintertime?
They play all their home games in April, May, and September.
Yeah, I guess technically you can't do just like straight up wintertime, but like just withhold all the home games, and then maybe they'll get like a decent attendance rate.
No, they'll never get a decent attendance rate unless they're good, and even then they'll still probably not do too hot. But it is what it is. But Joey, we do have a 4-game set, as you mentioned, ahead with Pittsburgh. We can only guarantee, unfortunately, folks, as we've noted a couple of times, many of us do other shows. Joey was in on Bears tonight. I was actually supposed to be on Bears with them, but family emergency chaos drove me away from that. So we're all busy. Blackhawks training camp starts tomorrow. As you can see, I got the Blackhawks little tank top on tonight. So we can guarantee a show probably Sunday is what we're aiming for. It is an early game and the Bears do play, so we might do a show on Monday, the off day. So bear with us, but there will be a show recapping this Pittsburgh series. There's a show before that. We'll absolutely let you know, but we can't guarantee anything. So we're just going to talk about the whole series really quick. So for anybody that is curious, on Thursday, all of these games are 5:35 starts, except for Sunday. It's a 12:35 start. Gotta love being an hour ahead in Pittsburgh, and they do the early time starts like we've seen this week with whatchamacallit, with the Miami Marlins, with their 5:40 starts. So this is their 5:35 starts. Tomorrow we got Hayden Wesneski. That Wisnowski was nasty, dude. He's on the mound again for the Cubbies against Mitch Keller on Thursday. On Friday, it will be Javier Assad against Wilson for the Buccos. Saturday, it will be Miley against Oviedo. For the Buccos. Oviedo has the greatest ERA that ever exists. It's a 3.69. You know the drill. And then on Sunday, it will be Ortiz throwing against Sampson for both of these teams. Joey, want to get your thoughts just a little bit on this 4-game set, what you're looking for, what you're hoping for, and then we'll wrap up with some Fly the W players before we get out of here.
Well, if I can be honest with you for a second, what I was looking for on my phone while you were introducing the series and the look ahead, I was looking for the name of the diner that I went to in Pittsburgh.
Did you get
Um,
it?
and I found it. And the name of the diner is called Kelly O's. That wasn't the sandwich shop that I was talking about, but Kelly O's. If you are in Pittsburgh going to one of these Cubs games, yeah, Kelly O's Diner. Pretty damn good. You can sit outside if it's nice and have a nice little breakfast meal, brunch, whatever. I liked it a lot. My girlfriend liked it a lot. So that's like, I don't know. That's not really a preview type of thing here, but preview your meal maybe. I think the Cubs, yeah, just come out there and pitch well again. Like keep pitching well. You keep pitching well, you're going to keep yourself in every game. Obviously, the hits will come from somewhere. We've seen it lately, right? They're going to come from somewhere. They weren't hitting the ball that great up until like they're still not really hitting the ball that great. It doesn't seem like, but clutch hitting tonight, timely, the comeback. So we'll take it. I think you mentioned Mitch Keller as one of the pitchers. He's you never know with him. He can be wild at times, so be patient. Javier Saad pitching, looking forward to that again. It seems like he's a guy you really just gotta watch every time he pitches. Is Wesneski gonna pitch too? You said
Tomorrow,
Wesneski. Okay, so that's a tune in. That's an absolute tune in for. Yeah, but I don't know. Just keep looking for the budding nuggets, right? Like whatever nugget you're gonna find from that game. Like there's gonna be something in that game, but watching for some of these players to develop and even through their struggles, right? Like, the only reason you're gonna watch now is just for that. Like you really don't care about the wins unless you're a nut job like me and like Beat on betting the win totals like preseason. You're not
over.
Yeah, just a ridiculous idea that we have to sweat this now in September when this team has been bad for a while.
All year. Yeah.
Yeah. Just never again. Just remind me. If I ever think about it, I'll probably do it next year. If I think about it, though, but please just tell me that's not a good idea. And looking forward to this series, I guess. I don't know. Looking forward to Kelly O's if I was in Pittsburgh.
There you go. I'll be honest with you, Joey. I could tell you it was a bad idea, and you'd probably still bet it anyway. So I don't know.
100%.
And you know what? Next year I might bet it with you. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But no, I'm right there with you, man. I mean, the pitching, the way it sets up for this series is actually good, right? I mean, I would argue the quote unquote weakest link is Wade Miley. We've seen Wade Miley deal this year. So if that's the case, I feel really good about this series. I like that Javier Assad's getting another look. I love that Hayden Wesneski is going to be on the bump tomorrow. And again, Sampson looked really good today. He just was on the unlucky side, or on Tuesday, pardon me. He was just on the unlucky side of not getting the win, but he still threw a quality start. 6 innings of 1-run ball is still fantastic. The guy's not pretty, but he's effective. And if that's the case, I agree with you. If they're going to pitch well, they're going to be in every game in this series, and that's truly all you can ask for at this point in the year. An Esteban Quiroz home run would be fucking cool and tough, by the way, in this series. I'm not going to lie. To watch that little 5'6" guy fucking pip shot one into like the Allegheny or something would be hysterical. I'll put it this way. If Esteban Quiroz goes yard in this series on the next show, whether it's Sunday night or whether it's Monday, I will shotgun a beer on camera.
Let's go.
In celebration for Esteban Quiroz, I will fucking shotgun a beer. So I hope he goes yard. I hope he goes yard. I really do. God, I hope he goes yard. That would be so cool. But again, hey, get some dubs. Help Joey and Beat on and the degenerates that bet on the over on the win total. And all things will be good. Really quick before we get to the Fly W picks, Jeremiah here is saying, hey, saw that Bucky's cup. And you're goddamn right. This is a Bucky's cup. Ooh, there it is. Sorry. Bucky's. He's the best gas station ever, although it can get old really fast. Yeah, if you go on, it's like Costco. If you go on a Saturday afternoon, it's a fucking zoo. But if
you've ever been to one.
I have. I've been to the Bucky's. That Bucky's down in fucking North Georgia. I've visited that bitch multiple times. Hence the cup. That's where I got that. I love that place, dude. They make their own brisket there. They got bomb ass like brisket breakfast burritos and shit. Oh, it's awesome.
So rate the station. Rate it. Casey's, Bucky's.
Oh, Bucky's takes the cake 10 times out of 10, bro. Casey's can't sniff Bucky's jockstrap.
Oh shit, it's that good. All right,
dude, Here's the thing about Bucky's, man. Bucky's is See, this is what happens. Jeremiah, you are the king, my friend, of getting us to talk about weird shit on this show. Because he's the one that started the Boston accents conversation.
Yeah, he did,
Like,
didn't he?
we're talking Bucky's now. Like, I appreciate it. Again, this is why we encourage all of you guys to tune in with us on YouTube or Facebook. You can comment along and we can see it. We can talk about weird shit. But Bucky's is literally take a gas station and apply the idea of Texas to it. Everything's bigger in Texas, right? That's Bucky's. They have like 175 gas pumps.
Jeez,
I'm not even exaggerating. It's like 175 gas pumps, and the actual like market inside is like a fucking Jewel Osco in terms of size. It's insane. They've got all the merchandise area. They got all these cool ass T-shirts.
So it's like a Walmart for a gas station.
Kinda. It's fucking wild, man. Like you can get coolers and shit there. You can get outdoor equipment. They sell these bomb ass tumblers with the Bucky's logo on it. That's my favorite cup. I drink from it every night. If everybody watches the show, you see this red ass cup every single fucking night. It's a Bucky's cup. I fucking love Bucky's, dude. They do shirts for like specific holidays. I got a 4th of July Bucky shirt. I got that cool like neon yellow, blue, and pink tank top I wear sometimes on this show. That's a Bucky's tank top. Like Bucky's is the shit, man. And then they make their own beef jerky, like Jeremiah says. They got a beef jerky buffet. They make their own beef jerky, bro. You can buy it fresh from behind a counter, or they have it already pre-bagged. They've got hot food. Like literally, they're out there cutting the fucking brisket on these big ass fucking things every time.
If any ladies listening and you want to steal Ron's heart, the way to Ron's heart is to buy a Bucky's gift card.
Bucky's. Well, the problem is, so here's the only issue though, is Bucky's is only in like the South. So unless you're in the state of Texas,
you got cousins in Atlanta though, right?
I do. Well, that's how I go to the one Bucky's I go to. Because
go.
I drive because I'm a psychopath. I don't like flying. For anybody, weird fact today about others, I am not a fan of flying. I don't like flying. If I don't have to fly, I won't fly. I drive a lot to Atlanta because it's only like 11 hours. It's not that bad. I like driving. Again, weird psychopath shit. Just bear with me. But I stopped. There's two Bucky's in Georgia. There's one south of Atlanta. There's one north of Atlanta. That one north of Atlanta, I've stopped at multiple times. I fucking love that place. They got the little Bucky's logo, little bronze statue out in front of the joint too. It's so cool. I love that place so much. I can't tell you how much money I've spent there just on food and merchandise. It's unbelievable. But yo, it's sick. They sell booze there. The bathrooms are like the nicest, cleanest bathrooms you'll ever see in your entire life. It's
the next time. Shit. The next time you go, all right, the next time you go, whenever that is, and not the bathroom part, don't do this part, but record like a little video of like around.
Then,
I just want to see. I can probably look this up on Google. But
by then, I'm gonna have a GoPro and we're gonna do Loose on the Loose, like I've been talking about it inside the walls of On Tap for years, and we're gonna do a Ron Loose takes on Bucky's episode, and it's just gonna be me walking around Bucky's and fucking. I'll be like, "Ooh, I like this shirt and shit." And I'll be in there for 45 minutes shopping because I'm a lunatic when it comes to this shit. I actually still got some of their ghost pepper beef jerky upstairs in my fucking thing from the last time I went. It's good shit. So yeah, no free ad, but like Bucky's, if you want to build one of these bitches within a stone's throw of Chicago, I will be coming down there all the time and making it like a field trip. So just
they could
for
sponsor
whoever needs to hear that. Yeah, hey, whoever needs to hear that at Bucky's, like. Get your ass to Chicago now or within a stone's throw. Put one in Kankakee for all I give a fuck. I don't care. Just put it within a stone's throw of Chicago. I need one anywhere near here because I fucking love that place. And Jeremiah says he went to the one in North Georgia too. It was during the World Series in 21. A lot of Braves fans were there. Oh, yeah. Tons of Braves fans down there, man. Anywhere in the Southeast you go from like Tennessee, Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, and like the Carolinas, everybody's Braves fans down there because of Turner Sports. So yeah. The Braves shit's everywhere down south. But yeah, man. Hey, Bucky's. Weird shit we talk about at the end of it comes on tap. Yeah. Joey, before we get out of here, who is your Fly the W pick for this upcoming series? It's gonna be hard to pick because you don't know what the fuck the lineup's gonna be.
Yeah, what? But, I'm not going to steal your guy because I'm hoping I know where you're going, so I'm not going to steal your guy. We have no idea what the lineup.
I am not going where you think I'm going, which is.
Oh no.
No.
Okay. I'm going with Esteban Quiroz. Let's go.
I love that. Good for you.
Was that right? You were not going to pick him?
I was not going to take Kyrgios. No.
I love the Buckies. I love the Buckies talk, by the way, though. I love that we go down those rabbit holes. I love that.
This is the Cubs on tap difference is we will go down weird rabbit holes, and there's not a single soul other than ourselves that tells us we can't.
Yeah.
I mean Tony could tell us to not do it, but because he's a White Sox fan, I might tell him to go shove it up his ass, and we're going to talk about Bucky's regardless. That's just the nature of the beat. That's how we do it here at Cubs on Tap. The Cubs on Tap difference. But Joey, I love your Kyrgios pick. Like I said, if he goes yard, I'm shotgunning the fuck out of.
I'm just hoping to shotgun a beer with you. So I'm hoping for it now.
I'm also looking forward to it. I mean, Jeremiah said it earlier. Love watching the Sox get blown out 8-2 after a Cubs dub. Sorry, that was my little shot at Tony there. It wasn't warranted, but it.
Did you watch? Sorry, not to. We got to wrap this up. But did you see that play at third base, Yohan Moncada, when the game was like towards the end of the game last night? I was watching at the bar. He windmilled
because I didn't see it. Articulate.
So this is what happened. Yeah. I believe some runs scored. I had a couple, but I believe couple two tree Pat Foley's. And then, so anyways, Moncada had a ball, I believe, hit to him at third, and he just kind of Olayed it, turned to the side. Dude, get in front of the ball. I'm sorry. That's just a horrible, he turned to the side, and I'm like, this is what's going on here when this game's in the balance. I mean, I know it was extra innings, I think at that point, and still, they might have been trailing at that point still, but, then they ended up losing. But it was just dude, what are you doing? I'm sorry. This is not Sox on Tap, and we're not a part of that. But I was just man, if I'm watching that, if I'm Tony, if I'm anybody from, the Sox fan, I'm fucking pissed. What are you doing?
Yeah, agreed.
No effort. Didn't seem like effort.
No, and that's the issue with them. And, we don't have to worry about effort over here, Joey, because it is hashtag different here. And I don't give a fuck what anybody else says.
We have effort. We just suck.
Yeah, but hey, the talent's coming. And my fly the W pick, Joey, is actually a guy that is one of those talents that is coming. I'm gonna go with I don't care what part of Chicago you're from and how you say his name. It could be Wisniewski, it could be Wisnasty, it could be Wistansky. I don't give a fuck how you say it. I'm gonna go with Hayden Wesneski as my fly the W pick. I think he's gonna shove because, in my opinion, the Pirates are worse than the Rockies, and he 7 inning, 1 run, no walk, 7K balled the fuck out of the Rockies in his first start. I think he comes back and does something similar. And again, if he goes 7 again and doesn't walk more than 2 and doesn't give up more than 2 runs, I'm convinced that giving this kid a shot at the rotation in spring training next year. He's coming in with a, hey, dude, we have 5 we could roll with. We want you to prove that you should be one of the 5. And it's yours to lose type deal. I kind of hope that's what they do. But I can't do that, Jeremiah. I'll embarrass myself. He says, since we played Miami, why not a Cuban accent? I'll embarrass myself. I can't even do one. I don't even know where to start. So
I can't do it.
We'll stick with the smart pocket of the cars and the Boston accent. So we'll keep it moving at that. But I'm gonna go with Hayden Wistansky as my fly the W pick for
I like that a lot.
But Joey, before we wrap things up, I do want to remind everybody that Cubs on Tap is the official Cubs podcast of the On Tap Sports Network. You can check out all of our great work over at ontapsportsnet.com and at ontapsportsnet on social media. Be sure to rate, review, subscribe, follow, do whatever the hell you need to do for our podcast. We love great reviews if you truly enjoy us, and if you don't, tell us what we're doing wrong and what we can do better. But
wait a second. I know that was a great run. Wasn't Tony Montana, Scarface? Was he Cuban?
He might have been Cuban from Bad Boys.
No, from Scarface.
Oh, from Scar.
Oh, you need to watch.
I've seen Scarface, but it's been 15 years since I've.
I would say I can only do say hello to my little friend. That's pretty much.
I don't know.
A Cuban accent. I just thought of that. I was dumb to cut you off. Go ahead, Ron.
No, it's okay. The Cubs on Tap difference. But no, yeah, rate, review wherever it is you listen to us. wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, you can find us. So please be sure to do that. You can follow the pod specific accounts for us here at Cubs on Tap. We're at Cubbies on Tap. That's Cubbies. That's Twitter and Instagram. I am at Loose on Tap on the Bluebird app. Joey is at Joey Knows Nothing. That ends in IN because that stands for win, baby. Still a good week in week 2. Not as good as week 1, but still a good week in week 2. So be sure to check out On Tap Bets as well. And make sure you follow all of our other great content contributors and co-hosts at Teddy Freddy 270, at Juice on Tap, at Bulls Guy Robin, at Brandon M. Kane. Bulls, Bears, Blackhawks, you know the drill. Blackhawks open training camp tomorrow. The GM and head coach, Kyle Davidson and Luke Richardson, spoke to the media today, so that kind of launched things. Bulls are coming up soon, too. We just learned that Lonzo Ball needs another fucking surgery on his knee. And again, Bears on Tap, just recorded today. It was Joey and Beat on. Again, it was supposed to be on the show. Shit happened, but Bears are in full swing, folks, and it'll be okay. And Justin Fields does not need to apologize to anybody. Stop being a bunch of fucking lame fucks. That shit pissed me off. Anyway, this is not Bears on Tap. I'll save that for the next episode. But you know the drill. You can find all of that here at On Tap. And again, you got friends that like the Sox. We know it because as Cubs fans, we also have friends that like the Sox. Give them a hug because they're going to need it, especially the way they've been playing lately against Cleveland, who's going to take that division from them, and then guide them over to our friends at Sox on Tap so they can all cry and wallow together because they're going to need it. Again, it's going to be a therapy session, and our boys at Sox on Tap do a great job covering the Southsiders. So once again, ontapsportsnet.com, at ontapsportsnet, on social media, the On Tap Sports Network. Go ahead and check out what's on tap in Chicago sports. Joey, it is always a pleasure. This was a fun one as well. Cubs win the series. Cubs win 2 out of 3. South Bend Cubs win the Midwest League Championship. It was a good fucking night. We will remember the 21st night of September because it truly was a fun one. We're for sure back with you guys either Sunday or Monday. We might be able to mix in a show in between then. Just be able to be sure to follow us on Twitter at Cubbies on Tap, and you'll know when we're going to go live and record some shows and shit. We're already kind of looking forward to the future as well and planning some shit for next year, and it's going to be a fun fucking season. So be sure that you're following along. And if you got friends that like the Cubs, send them our way as well. But Joey, before we get out of here, what do we say? First off, we get out of there the only way we know how at Cubs on Tap. And again, always a pleasure, my friend. Let's close it out the only way we know how, my dude.
Yeah, it was a fun one. Fuck the Cardinals.
Always fuck the Cardinals, and let's go Cubbies.